Do you love TV shows? We do too. Hello everyone, I'm Jeff.
And I'm Anna, and we're the hosts of We Judge a Show by Its Pilot, a podcast hosted by us, a married couple with an endless love for TV.
Whether you're searching for a new favorite series or ready to revisit an old classic, we're here to guide you through an infinite world of TV shows.
Each episode, we watch and discuss the pilot for shows, while also sharing personal stories that parallel the storyline.
So if you're tired of endlessly scrolling and not sure what to watch next, tune in and let us do the searching for you.
We Judge a Show by Its Pilot. New episodes every Tuesday and Friday, wherever you get your podcasts.
Your new favorite show is just one click away. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our pod.
Hello. How's it going?
It's going good. It is hot.
It is hot.
That's all. That's it.
Yeah. It's hot. You were out cleaning the pool. We had our lawn guy came.
Just doing stuff around the house. I'm sweating. All I did was just change the AC filter out just now.
Oh, you changed it? Thanks,
and
Bean.
And just doing that, I started getting a little sweat, and I was like, I'm about to get in my PJ pants where I'm ironically going to be even hotter. So
you are hot. You're so hot.
Thanks. All right, so we're recording a little bit out of order. I wanted to record this episode today because it's my day off. And also, we could have the time to have a little cocktail.
We're having a little cocktail.
We're having a little cocktail during this.
A little pineapple-y.
I think the main reason why is because the show that we're about to do is kind of all about like partying and kind of doing all of the things that make us feel good. And so I know I say this every time we talk about one of my favorite shows. I say every show is my favorite show, and I am that person. I know I've accepted it. It's just how I am. But this is actually one of my favorite shows.
Really?
Yes, this is actually one of my favorite shows. When we first got the idea to do this podcast, this was one of the first shows that popped in my mind of the. Like when we were doing like Jeff's favorites, top show, Anna's favorites, back when we were doing all that, when we had like the theme within the theme, when we kind of stopped doing that.
And this would have been hard to do in that because we wouldn't have known where it ranked in UK stuff. Or I mean, you could have looked it up. But,
I mean, like, well, this is just like kind of for my favorite. It was always kind of like when we were doing that. Like when we were doing, I think, Back to School, I was like, this isn't really like, this takes place at a school, but it's not like a school, I don't think of it as like a high school show.
Oh, no.
Just because it's the UK and their schooling system is different than ours, and they were technically in like junior college, even though they're all like 16, 17, 18 years old. The schooling system is just different in the UK than it is in America. It just didn't feel like, it never felt like a high school show. And
right, well, a lot of other countries call high school college,
right?
Like in South America, Central America,
and in the UK, what they call college or secondary school
is university.
What I'm saying is they're usually done with like our version of high school. They're done with that by the time they're 16.
Oh,
and then from 16 to 18, they go to what is called a sixth form, which is basically like 11th and 12th grade.
Oh, okay.
And it's basically like that's where you go to start like thinking about what you want to study, where you want to go to college. It's basically like community college. That's kind of how I always kind of envisioned it. Yeah, it's like 11th and 12th grade when you start like taking your entrance exams, when you start picking something you want to study, and you kind of focus on that. And it sounds like a much better system than what we have here, but it's neither here nor there. So we are, I don't even know if I said the name of the show yet. So today we are doing Skins, which is one of my favorite shows. It's actually one of my favorite shows. I'm very, very excited to do this. And we have a lot to talk about because there's a lot to talk about. So why don't you just go ahead and give us some episode and series information. I didn't say movie that time.
Yeah, there you go. Winning. All right. Skins. Tony. Skins was a British teen drama that aired on UK's channel E4 from January 25th, 2007 to August 5th, 2013 for 7 seasons and 61 episodes. It began airing in the US on BBC America on August 17th, 2008. The series was created by father-son team Brian Elsley and Jamie Britton. They wanted to create a teen drama that was more edgy and raw compared to most teen shows airing at the time. They wanted to explore a pocket of teen culture that revolved around drug and alcohol use, going to raves, having casual sex, and overall poor behavior. Instead of casting 20-something supermodels, they decided to cast unknowns that were closer to the age of their characters. Elsley and Britton also chose to have a young writing staff to keep the show current and fresh. Skins revolves around the students at Roundview College in Bristol, southwest England. Since the series takes place at a 2-year sixth form school, every 2 seasons we get a cast of new characters that the fans divided by generations. Skins is probably best known for being another show full of young actors before they made it big in the industry. The cast for seasons 1 and 2 includes Nicholas Hoult as the intelligent, popular, and manipulative Tony Stoneham, Mike Bailey as the awkward and somewhat lazy Sid Jenkins, April Pearson as the conceited, ambitious Michelle Richardson, Hannah Murray as the eccentric and empathetic Cassie Ainsworth, Joe Dempsey as the light-hearted party boy, Chris Miles. Larissa Wilson as the sensible, sarcastic music prodigy, Jal Frazier. Mitch Hewer as the charismatic, talented Maxie Oliver. Dev Patel as the fun-loving Anwar Karel. Kaya Scodelario as the quiet, observant Effie Stoneham, Tony's sister. Georgina Moffat as rich girl Abigail Stock. And future Oscar winner Daniel Kaluuya as Posh Kenneth. Kaluuya originally started on the show as a writer and was an aspiring rapper and basically created a character loosely based on himself to play.
How crazy is that?
Yeah. Actors that would later appear in the series include Jessica Sula, who would later co-star in the Shyamalan film Split. And she will be playing LaToya Jackson in the upcoming Michael Jackson biopic. Sean Teal, who would go on to star in The Gifted and is currently on Dr. Odyssey. And Jack O'Connell, who recently had a breakout role as Remake in the hit horror movie Sinners. Love him.
He was great.
The 7th and final season of Skins was a special 6-part miniseries that served as a Where Are They Now for certain characters. Cassie, Effie, and Cook, O'Connell's character, were the main focus, but other characters returned as well. Skins became an instant cult classic for the millennial generation and created a cultural shift for teen TV shows. There was an attempt at an American remake that briefly aired on MTV, but was quickly canceled after a few episodes. I totally remember that, and I just remember thinking, like, what is this insanity? Mm-hmm. Sometimes it just doesn't translate well, and we'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that in a second, yeah.
Other teen shows like The In-Betweeners, Misfits, Euphoria, and the Heartbreak High remake all use Skins as an inspiration. You can currently watch the entire series on Hulu.
Yeah. So, yeah, the American remake didn't work because in the UK, when you are 16, you are technically the age of consent. And in America, you are still a minor. So all of these things were going on, and all these characters were 16, 17 years old, and people in America were like, these are children. Whereas the UK viewed it as like, these are young adults. So I think there was also this, things that were okay very quickly changed. Things that were okay in 2007, and then, 2012, I think, when the remake came out, and like it already kind of wasn't okay for like,
I don't really remember what the MTV version was like.
It was awful.
Was it trying to do what they were doing?
It was a carbon. It was like the first episode was a carbon copy of the episode we watched just now.
And I definitely feel what you're saying is so true, because I think that was what I was really shocked about, and not in the sense that I'm a prude or anything. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But like, we hadn't seen that.
Right.
Like, that is just so not our television.
Right.
Where when we watched it, I was like, yep, this is what, we were talking about in high school, and, all this stuff was happening. So it's kind of ironic, because I feel like this is actually what happens here too, and people are always afraid to talk about it.
Right. And I think part of why I love the show so much is because I related to it so much, because there was an era of my life where I was doing a lot of these things and that were in the show, and I found it to be more realistic than any other high school show I had seen at the time, especially one that like. So the thing with America, the thing with kind of American teen shows, that they kind of have to be either like squeaky clean, like Saved by the Bell, where you have like a moral of the week, a lesson of the week. Don't lie to your parents. Don't cheat on tests. Don't litter. Don't blah, blah, blah. Drink and drive. Like, there was always some lesson to be learned. Or you had something like 90210 where it was like, we're teens and we're sexy and we're going to all
but there was always the, like...
Like, this is like a soap opera. It was more like either a soap opera or like a sitcom. Like, there was nothing in between.
Well... I will say, actually, 90210 had a few of those moments when at the end they'd be like, well, if you've ever thought about suicide or if you've been raped
it was very much like also a lesson of the week.
Yeah.
Which further helps prove my point. Like, that you would have shows like My So-Called Life and like Freaks and Geeks, which didn't last because we just weren't ready. American audiences, I was ready for it. I loved those two shows, but... America itself just wasn't ready for that type of show, and I think that has a lot to do with just the way it was, the way our kind of society was at the time. I remember watching the making of Freaks and Geeks. There was like this TV special, and the people at NBC, I think it was NBC, told Paul Feig and Judd Apatow, like, this is what TV is going to be like in 10 years, but right now it's just not working out for you. And that ended up kind of being the case because then Skins came in and did all of the things that no other show could get away with. And somehow, some way, they figured out the formula to being like, okay, this is what it's actually like being a teenager. You don't have to get upset over it. Just enjoy the ride. Just enjoy the experience and take it for what it is. Instead of people being like, well, I'm offended by this because of, this, that, and the other. And people... And I think we were watching it in America feeling like, oh, well, this is what they do in the UK. Like, this isn't what, at least people watching it were thinking, not me, but like people were watching it being like, oh, that's how it works in the UK. That's not how it works in the US. So then when they tried to do it in the US, people were like, we don't like this. We don't like this at all.
Yeah.
And it took, honestly, it took a really long time. Like you still had all of these high school shows that pushed the envelope, but it was all like in a sexual way. Whereas I feel like a show... very recently that took off in America was Euphoria, and I feel like that's really the first time where it had to be on HBO, it had to be uncensored, like it had to have all these different things. I think that was the other issue with the US remake of Skins, it being on MTV, and instead of putting them in college, which I felt like would have been, in American college would have been a little bit more appropriate because they were 18 and older. And it's still interesting to watch. Like, it wouldn't be interesting if they weren't in high school, but anyway, I think that like it just took a really long time for for the US to be like, okay, we can accept this. Like, we can accept this type of teen show. That is American.
Yeah, and it's what's
American made.
Funny is also, and I should look it up, but I wasn't sure what we were exactly going to be talking about today, but I think there was like another show, and this might have been in like the earlier 2000s called Coupling. That was also based on a British show that I think was about couples that they were swingers.
Yeah.
And
I remember that name.
Yeah, and it was like with Rena Sofer and some other, like there were a couple of known actors from like soap operas or other TV shows. And they tried to do that in the US, and again, these were like grown married adults, and this show got canceled pretty quickly. Yeah. I don't think it lasted very long at all, if at all. If even a season.
2003.
Yeah, early 2000s.
Yeah, Colin Ferguson, Lindsay Price.
Yeah. Oh, wow, Lindsay Price.
Rena Sofer, yeah.
Yeah.
You got a 3.6 on IMDb. It lasted 11 episodes.
Hey,
or 10 episodes.
There you go. Like half a season or a third of a season. But yeah, it tried to copy the UK show, and sometimes I think that can work, but then sometimes the humor, the slang, the things just don't translate.
It's just a different culture, and translating that into the correct form is very difficult, and I can really only think of one show that successfully did it, and it was The Office. Like, I think that's really the only which we will have already aired at this point, but we haven't recorded it yet. We're recording it after this one. But anyway, yeah, so I think I've gotten you to watch the first episode of Skins before. I don't remember if I have or not. I know I've probably like put it on.
I was going to say, there are a lot of times
Yeah.
you have it on and
Yeah.
I'm doing something else and it's on in the background for me while you're actively
Right.
watching it.
Okay, so what did you think of the first episode? What did you think of Tony, the pilot?
Oh, I liked it.
Yeah.
I think there's a guy like that at
Mhm.
every school. I mean, whether we know him or not.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah, I thought it was funny and I thought it was edgy in a good way. And I was relating to a lot of the stuff that was happening. I mean, you know, the sister coming back in. And,
Yeah, I actually
all of those things.
actually thought of you when we were watching that this most recent time. I'm like, oh, there's Anna.
Yeah, there's me trying to sneak back in the house. So yeah, I mean, that's why I thought it was relatable. And it's just funny that again, I can see people being upset about teens having sex, but let's be real, teens have sex.
Right.
We should talk about it. And I don't want to say normalize it, but, you know, at least let's be safer.
Like Rhett and Link would say, let's talk about that.
Let's talk about that. So, hey, Rhett and Link. But yeah, I liked it. I like a fast and dirty episode. When I asked you, like, about, you know, because it's called Tony.
Yeah.
Each episode focuses on a character. Again, I love
that.
it.
Yeah.
It allows you to just watch an episode and you might have to know something that happened, but not necessarily because it's about that person.
There's always like this small kind of through line throughout each season, but you kind of can watch them all separately.
Yeah.
Especially the early episodes, especially like the first like 4 or 5 episodes. You can very easily watch them separately.
I love the way it does that.
Yeah.
I love a series that is just very like singular in each episode that it could stand on its own. So yeah, I liked it. I liked all the actors and seeing them was fun
Seeing
because
them as babies. Yeah.
Yes, I was like, oh my gosh, and, you know, Nicholas Hoult and Daniel Kaluuya and all of
Dev Patel.
Dev Patel.
And then you got Gendry and
Gendry.
Who's the other one from the blonde girl, Cassie from Skins? Gilly.
Yes.
Gilly, and you got a lot of great actors that came through Skins, especially even ones that kind of came in for like an episode or two. Like, I didn't even list those people that just kind of came in for like an episode or two that like went on and be like, oh, they were in, like, Abigail's older brother was in the Divergent movies, and it was just super random. I'm like, I know that guy from somewhere. He's British, but he's talking in an American accent, and like I looked it up, and I'm like, Skins. I was like, it's always Skins, Game of Thrones, or Misfits, or Degrassi when they're Canadian.
Yeah.
For watching Ginny in Georgia, if I recognize someone, they're from Degrassi. So I first came across Skins. I was living in Florida. And this was back in just to date myself even more, back when IMDb had message boards, which they do not have. They got rid of them in like 2016, I think, or 17. And I would kind of go on certain message boards frequently. The main one that I would go on a lot was the Freaks and Geeks one. And on the IMDb message boards, this was kind of an era where it was like someone would post on one of the message boards being like, Degrassi versus Freaks and Geeks, why, pros and cons. Like, it would be like, explain why one is better than the other, and then the reverse it, like explain why each of them are kind of. It was a really weird verses, but I remember people did it all the time. They all had their own guidelines. It was really weird, but I remember it saying Freaks and Geeks versus Skins, and I was like Skins. And like I clicked on it, and people were like kind of talking about like, oh, Skins is just like so relatable and so interesting, and I clicked on it, and at the time it was just season 1 had come out. Like, it was a brand new show at the time, and this was also when it was really easy to find stuff on YouTube. When people would just put full movies and full TV shows before
copyrights,
when it was still the Wild West of the internet. And I remember going on YouTube and finding the first episode, and that was the only one I could find that was in English, was the first episode. All the other ones were in French. And it was back before you could change audio stuff. It was like, you got it how you got it. Like, that was it. There was no changing subtitles or anything. So I was like, all right. So I went on eBay and I bought season 1 of Skins, a burnt because you couldn't get a Region 1, which is where our DVD location is. We couldn't get a Region 1 DVD on Skins. It was impossible. So I got a burnt copy with I still have them.
That's so funny.
Where it's just the cover. It's like one of the covers of a thumbnail that was blown up and put stamped on the DVD. And they gave me a full interactive menu, and they gave me chapters, and they put the theme song in the main menu.
Wow.
They really put forth some effort, but it was a bootleg DVD. And I watched that show, the first season, so many times because that was all I had. I had to wait until seasons were over until I could get episodes. This was long before Netflix streaming.
Oh yeah, we weren't getting BBC America and stuff like that back
then. At some point they were available on Netflix at home, Netflix mail. And so that was how I watched season 2. And then after that, that was when I discovered streaming sites. You know how I used to do that. I would go the free streaming sites like Mega Video and all these other places. And that's how I watched seasons 3 and 4. And then my first experience with Netflix streaming, they had all the seasons added on Netflix. So my roommate Jody had never watched it. We're like, you need to watch this show. So we watched it. We watched the entire series. I don't know what it is exactly about the show that I like so much, but I know that there was a period of time where I really related to it. It felt like if I had this show in high school, it would have been so awesome because I didn't ever have a high school show that I could relate to, especially in high school.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even a little bit after I graduated when teen shows got big again, you had the OC. I'm I can't relate to that. I'm just I can't relate to The Hills and Laguna Beach. Even though those are reality shows, I'm not relating to Gossip Girl or Pretty Little Liars.
Oh,
That's
I
just
never
not
related to them. I think that's always why I liked them in the sense of they were semi-fantasy.
Right.
I mean, I didn't live in
I liked those shows for that reason, but not in a way that I related to
yourself.
It. But then Skins came out, and I kind of saw myself in a lot of the characters, and I related to a lot of the characters just over time. And it's just one of those shows that never left my brain. I watch it. I'll watch an episode once every few months.
I just came in the other day and you were watching it.
Well, we watched the first episode. It kind of got me wanting to watch more episodes.
Of course.
So I've watched this entire series. If I were to keep watching it, would you want to keep watching it too?
Sure.
I didn't sound very convincing.
You're yawning. I was about to yawn.
Sorry.
Yes, I would. I mean, again, we probably have a lineup of 30 shows we need to keep watching. But like I said, I feel like because they are singularly about a person each episode, I think it's a fun show that you can easily watch and find yourself in one of the characters or find your friend or people you knew in high school that were like that. So
I think what I love so much about the way they do the episodes is when you see the person not being focused on as kind of a side character in the episode, you think you have them figured out, and then when they have their centric episode, you're like, oh, I had them all wrong. This is why they are the way they are. And it always has to do with their parents. It's all it's all because of their home life and how they're treated or mistreated, neglected. They all kind of have their own thing that that they have issues with. But yeah, of course, I would keep watching the show. I talked about my history. So a big part of this episode, and something that I feel like I knew we were going to have to talk about at some point.
Okay.
Especially when we're talking about high school shows, teen shows, and also just kind of in general, there's a big kind of theme in this episode where Tony is trying to get his friend Sid to lose his virginity. It has become, and it is such a teen TV movie trope, especially with boys, where it's just this such an important thing that you have to lose your virginity in order to become a human being. That's how people treat it. I mean, that's how it was treated, at least when I was in high school. It was oh, you haven't had sex yet? Oh, you don't know what life is. It was kind of just this attitude. Okay. I'm just saying that's how boys were. I mean, it was just this, especially
I would not know that. I'm not a boy.
Especially in movies, they make such a big deal out of it, especially in movies and teen shows. Why do you think losing your virginity? So talk about it in girl world. Why was it a big deal to lose your virginity in girl world?
I think so, in the sense, particularly for us, I don't know if I'm an outlier, but like a couple of my high school girlfriends had lost their virginity freshman or sophomore year. I lost mine junior year. And or wait, yeah.
I thought you told me it was sophomore year.
It was sophomore year.
Yeah.
I had just turned 16, so I was going in, it was end of April.
Gotcha.
So I kind of feel like it was more of like, I don't want to say like womanhood because that sounds too formal. It wasn't that. It was just like, I don't know. I don't know if there was like a sort of self-identifying point in our life that we felt. For me, it was, I'll be completely honest. I think I've told you this before. I just wanted it over with.
Yeah.
Like, I just felt like there was such a buildup, like you're saying. For me, that was it. It was like, oh my God, this is going to happen and it's going to hurt. You're going to bleed. It's going to be bad. The guy's going to be stupid. You're not going to know what you're doing. It's going to be awkward. And I just felt like, okay, I just need this bullshittery over with.
Yeah.
Like, I just, like, if it's going to be all of those horrific things, and then you also see where losing your virginity can be romanticized.
Right.
Like, you know, I mean, I'm trying to think of, like, Blockers, you know,
I was
where he
thinking
has, like,
Blockers.
the hotel movie with the rose petals and, you know, they love each other and they're going off to, and I'm like, yeah, no, it's not like that. But
it could have been it could be for some people.
I guess it could be like that for some people.
I don't know anybody where it was like that, but we also
either.
weren't sitting around talking about how we lost our virginities. So,
correct.
Yeah.
But
also didn't know anybody that lost their virginity.
I don't know. I mean, for me and most of the girls that I knew, I think it was like you just wanted to just do it.
Yeah.
Like, and not because it was like a challenge or that it was like this check mark that you had to mark off your to-do list. But for me, I just think I wanted the anticipation over with.
Yeah.
Like, you know, okay, once that's done, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. But I think that was how it was for me.
Right.
You know, or did you want me to talk about it?
No, you don't have to if you don't want to.
No, I will. I mean,
Okay.
I mean, for me, mine was, again, at the end of sophomore year. I had just turned 16 and I was working at Chuck E. Cheese, and a couple of football players from my high school had come up there and they were like, oh, we're going to go party at my house afterward. And, you know, when do you get off? And so they were like, well, we'll wait around because I didn't have a car.
Yeah.
And so I think I ended up telling my mom, sorry, Mom, if you're listening up in the heavens, that I was going to close. Like, I think I was getting off at like 9:00. And then like I called her and told her that they needed me to close, which she didn't question.
Right.
And so I ended up going to this guy's house. It was uptown New Orleans. And he had a swimming pool. So we were like swimming. I think I was in like my bra and underwear at the time because I wouldn't have had a swimsuit like at work. And we went to his bedroom and he just, you know, we started making out, and he did actually ask me for my consent, like in the sense of like, you know, do you want this to happen?
Yeah.
I mean, I think we knew what it was coming to, and he did, you know, so I think if I would have said no, I don't think he would have gone further. So I will actually say I very much appreciated that about him. I didn't feel like I was pressured into it. I felt like it was my own decision that I was making. And I really mean that. Because going over there, I kept thinking to myself, I'm like, I think we're going to have sex.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm going to this guy's house and his parents aren't there and we're having a party and we're going swimming practically naked. And like all of these things were running in my head. And again, he was very nice. He wore a condom and was very, like, you know, I guess I will just say, like, gentle. And he wasn't, it wasn't awkward in the sense of, like, it was in the back seat of a car and, you know, we were using some saran wrap or something.
You were in the comfort of a bed.
We were in a bedroom in a nice house, consent, a nice guy, and, yeah, that was about it.
Yeah.
And I will actually say it, it was not painful, and for me, I think the other thing that I was anticipating was that it was going to be messy in the sense of like I was losing my virginity if you get a picture of that. And it wasn't. And I think it was because I have always had female problems. And so, I used tampons and stuff like that. So there was the ease of that part. So I didn't feel like any cherry was being popped at the time. But I was nervous about that. I mean, like those are the things that are running through your head, especially as a girl, because that doesn't happen for a guy. I mean, y'all, don't have, y'all have a different mess when y'all have sex. But, for us, our first time, I think we're very like nervous about that happening and being mortified, like, oh my God, he's gonna tell that I'm a virgin, but then of course I was like, does he think I'm not a virgin? Because I was, and so, but I didn't have any kind of accident of any kind, but that was it. I mean, and it wasn't bad probably until like the next day or so after he had told several guys on the football team, which of course, why didn't I expect that? But then of course, those guys' girlfriends heard about it and blah, blah, blah. But, and those are the things that I don't think you are prepared for as a 15, 16-year-old.
Yeah.
And those are the things that I can't imagine today with things like social media and Instagram and Facebook and Snapchat and TikToks and how the information can go like wildfire.
Yeah.
I mean, this happened on like a Friday or a Saturday night, and by Monday, at least a dozen or two people knew. I mean, if this happened today, thousands of people would know. And so I can see how people struggle with it even today, probably more so. But yeah, that was mine. What about yours?
Oh, we're doing this?
Hey, it's a question on
I know. All right. So I had a different experience. It was not a bad experience, but I had a different experience because I had this, I don't know if it was the era or if it was just being a boy or if it was just the other boys that I was around, but I was a late bloomer in a lot of areas, and one of them was kind of the need that boys have to be like, I have to have sex. Like, it's just like kind of that. I didn't have that. Maybe it was because I was like medicated. Maybe it was like, I don't know what. Maybe it was because I was always around my mom and my sister, and my mom was a labor and delivery nurse. And so I had gotten plenty of talks before I was even in high school about all of that stuff.
And I think that's really different. I mean, I give your mom credit because my mom did not want to talk about it.
So I had a lot of getting in my head. I'm already someone that overanalyzes things and I get in my head about stuff. So when it came to sex, I very much, saying I was afraid of it is strong. It feels strong to say, because it wasn't that. It was that I wasn't going to just have sex with someone. Like, I was like, but it wasn't like I want to wait until I'm in love. Like, it wasn't anything like that. It was just someone that I knew, someone that I trusted, someone that I felt comfortable with. Like, it was very much, I just wanted it to be with a right person, not the one. I didn't have that idea, but it was just like someone that I could lose my virginity to, and I won't regret it, and she won't regret it. I think that was just kind of like my thought. And I dated someone in 11th grade where it could have happened, but there was just something about her that I did not trust. And there was just something about her that like, I just kept being like, yeah, I don't know. This just isn't, I don't know. Like, and it was really weird because like my body wanted to, but my body very much wanted to, but it was like my brain was like stopping me. It was like, no, like, yes, you physically want this, but my brain just kept telling me like, you don't want this. Like, this isn't the person that you. Turns out she was like cheating on me with a guy that went to LSU the whole time we were together, and she was just trying to have sex with me to like throw me off the scent. And this is what her friend told me. I don't know how true it is. We never had a meeting about it. I didn't talk to her after she was a year ahead of me. I didn't talk to her after she graduated high school.
Okay.
So I started dating someone at the beginning of my senior year that I had been really good friends with since 9th grade. And we kind of had this flirtatious friendship throughout all of high school. But we were always like dating someone. It was always kind of one of those things where it was like, I like you, but you have a boyfriend. I like you, but you have a girlfriend now. And kind of by the beginning of senior year, we had drama class together, and we were like, let's start dating each other. Like, it was just kind of like, it was very much like, it's time. Like, we were just like, it's time for it. And we dated. We were together for a few months, and we were in, it was in my room, it was in my bed, and we just kind of decided in that moment, like, we're going to have sex. She was not a virgin, I was, and we had sex, and it was the first time I ever had sex. So I was like, this is awesome. And because like you said, it's different for the boy. And I was very grateful that I was not losing my virginity to another virgin, because I had someone who kind of sort of knew what they were doing. And it was very much like, I didn't know what I was doing. So I was going to take her lead the whole time. And I felt comfortable. This was someone that I cared about very much. This was someone that I loved at the time. And I was like, it wasn't even like, and it was one of those things where it was like that part of my brain wasn't even, it just all felt right. And so I was like, okay. And I lost my virginity. I was 18. I was a senior in high school. And I know a lot of people are like, I lost my virginity when I was 15, 16. I'm like, that's cool. I was just like, no issues with that. But it was just, I was just a little late to the game when it came to that. But now realizing, especially nowadays, 18 isn't even that old at all. It felt so old at the time, but now
I'll say that for sure.
But now I think sex is so different. I'm not a teenager, so I don't know. But from what I've gathered, it's just really different now. So it's like 18 isn't even that big of a deal. So, and it probably wasn't even a big deal back then. But to me, I was like, I am 10 years late on I am like 2 years late on this. Like, that's how it felt. But I don't regret it. I don't regret the person that I lost my virginity to. We were together for almost 3 years, so it wasn't like a thing that I regret. But yeah, it just was, we just had very different experience. I think everyone has their own unique experience, but yeah, I appreciate that ours are so different because we have two different stories to tell.
Yeah. Okay, here's a question for you.
Okay.
Did you ever, after that, obviously, because you were a virgin until 18, did you ever break someone's virginity?
No.
Oh, ever?
I have never been with a virgin, as far as I know. But, I mean, like, as far as I know, but, like, I kind of know for a fact that I've never had sex with a virgin. And I am so okay with that.
I think I have popped a few cherries after
Ew.
that. Ew. Yeah. Yeah, you could, a few, like, probably later in high school of guys, and then maybe one or two in college or so.
Yeah, because I kind of was with the same person throughout, like, my college age years.
Yeah,
so I think that
true.
had a lot to do with it. And the person I dated after her was older than me. And then the person I dated after that was younger than me, but they were not a virgin. And I knew that they weren't a virgin. So it was like, yeah, I'm grateful. I used to say, not all the time, but anytime like the subject of sex would come up, I was like, I didn't even lose my virginity to a virgin. I've never been with a virgin, and I'm very happy about that because, I don't know, I just don't want to be that person. Maybe that's it. Maybe I don't want to be remembered as that person. And that's not a bad thing, but it's just, maybe that's not what I want.
You don't want to be remembered as someone's first.
Right.
Yeah.
That's just, I don't know. That's just, to me, that's weird.
Yeah.
But that's just me. All right. You want to
boo. Our stories. I love that we can be open and honest about this insanity in our lives.
I mean, I'm always like halfway through a story, many times on this podcast, halfway through the story, I will be like, I cannot believe I'm telling this story. And I am not going to cut it out of the episode.
Yeah. I mean, we all have that story.
Right.
I mean, hopefully if you're of adult age or close to
So all
it,
the
you
adult
know.
virgins out there,
Yeah,
you're doing
post your
fine.
story.
You're doing
yeah,
fine.
let us know
Yeah.
who popped your cherry and what was it like, or not.
Yes.
All right,
You ready for the plot summary?
let's do it.
Okay. All right. Tony Stoneham is a 17-year-old living in Bristol, England, with his parents and his younger sister Effie. He attends Roundview College with his close friends Sid, Michelle, Cassie, Anwar, Jal, Maxie, and Chris. Sid is Tony's best friend, but they are total opposites. Tony is ambitious, intelligent, confident, but he is also bored. He considers himself to be on a higher plane of existence compared to his peers, leading him to be manipulative, inconsiderate, and incredibly narcissistic. After helping his younger sister Effie sneak back into the house and his morning ritual of messing with his dad, Tony heads to school. Yeah, it didn't occur to me that really reminded me of you sticking back into the house at the beginning with like she's like sweated off her makeup and her hair's all messed up.
I didn't have siblings to help me. I
Yeah.
had to maneuver my way into the house.
After a series of phone calls between all the characters, we learn that Tony is set on helping his best friend Sid lose his virginity. He persuades his on-off girlfriend Michelle to help. Sid meets Tony at a cafe before school to plan his devirgining. Sorry, I meant to put devirginizing and then it autocorrected to devirgining, which I thought was kind of funny. Tony begins to tell Sid his plan and that Michelle is going to help. Sid misinterprets this as Tony persuaded Michelle to take Sid's virginity. Sid, who has a secret crush on Michelle, is ecstatic, but when Michelle arrives, he quickly realizes she is just there to help him find a girl. Michelle suggests their friend Cassie. Sid is unsure because Cassie is known for having issues and was just released from a treatment center for anorexia. After realizing he has no other options, Sid agrees. Tony heads over to the private school to audition for the city's chamber choir. The choir was traditionally all girls, but has opened up for male members. Since Tony is the only candidate, he sees it as an opportunity to be around a group of rich girls. After his audition, he is approached by Abigail Stock, who has invited him to a party at her house. So this was my introduction to all of the different British dialects that I didn't.
Oh, yeah.
So I knew about like posh, I knew about Cockney, but I didn't realize all the different accents. And I didn't realize this until I read captions for the show. So she says, "Are you coming by my house?" But she pronounces it like heis. Are you coming to my heis? And he's like, heis, and even like the British people don't understand certain British accents. And I just kind of thought that was funny. I didn't catch that until years later. Until I rewatched it, I'm like, oh, they all have different accents. I wasn't paying attention to that. Yeah, after his audition, he's approached by Abigail Stock, who has invited him to a party at her heis, where they get crazy on drum and bass, which always makes me laugh. Abigail insists that Tony brings his friends, because that's how she says friends. Tony meets his friends in the common area before class, where they discuss their plans for the night. Jal has no interest in going to the party. Anwar and Chris are going to a gay club with Maxie to meet straight girls. So the concept that straight girls go to gay bars so they don't get hit on by straight boys. So then straight boys go to the gay bar to try and meet straight girls. That's the idea.
Oh, yeah. I did it a lot.
So Tony is left with Michelle, Sid, and Cassie to attend the party. Tony tells Sid to buy an ounce of pot from his connection so they can sell it at the party and make some extra cash. Tony gives Sid the dealer's address, and he is shocked to see the dealer's name is Mad Twatter. Sid goes to Mad's home, which doubles as a brothel. Sid meets Mad, who lives up to his name. This guy has like this huge handlebar mustache that takes up half of his face.
Oh
kind of does like the little twirl up thing. It's so funny. Tony tells Chris about Sid going to get an ounce, but Chris informs him that every dealer in town is oversupplied, so no one will be looking to buy. Tony tries to call Sid to tell him the deal is off, but due to Sid not having a signal while at Mad's house, he doesn't receive the calls. By the way, the 2006 tech, I love it, with the flip phones, and the old Nokia ringtones. It just like every time I hear that, when Anwar at the very beginning, when he's at Temple and he hears the phone ringtone go off.
Yes.
When Sid tries to buy the ounce from Mad, Sid tells him that he was hoping to get the pot now and pay later once he sells it, so to get it on credit. Mad decides to give Sid a chance and agrees to the deal, but insists that Sid takes 3 ounces instead of 1. So Sid owes 300 pounds, which is a little over $400 USD, which for a 16-year-old is a lot of money. he owes that money to Matt, and he has 3 days to give him the money, which that's like the first kind of through line that goes from episode 1 to 3. That whole arc with the drug dealer. The night of the party has arrived. Tony, Sid, Michelle, and Cassie meet up at Abigail's house. Cassie informs Tony and Sid that she is a lot better now and lists the food she can now eat. Cassie is on a lot of medication and describes the last few months as hazy days. The 4 enter Abigail's house. Cassie takes off to check out the kitchen. The other 3 meet Abigail's friends, who all basically have one of the same 3 names. There's like 5 of them named Sarah, which I thought was just such a great bit. One of the posh kids is the DJ. I think it's like DJ Twisty or something like that. It's something like really stupid. And starts playing drum and bass, which is the worst type of dance club music you can imagine. Tony, it's worse than that. Tony and Michelle begin dancing. Sid leaves to find Cassie. While at the big gay night out, it turns out to be a bust. Maxie, Anwar, and Chris decide to leave and go find Abigail's house. They finally find the house, and when they enter the house, they see all the rich kids have left their phones and wallets out.
Oh my God.
The 3 boys immediately steal all of their stuff. That was another kind of great bit of like, you idiots,
wow,
leaving all your stuff out. First of all, leaving all your stuff out.
Because was that back in the day when if you returned a phone, you would get like $25 from like the phone store? But obviously they don't do that anymore. But I remember
it was before you like really kind of had to register your phone under your like ID name and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You just kind of had a phone under your plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 3 boys immediately steal all their stuff and join Tony and Michelle on the dance floor. Proving to be too rowdy, Abigail begins to have a meltdown after Chris's muddy shoes smear all over her mother's new rug. Sid and Cassie are outside lying on a trampoline when they begin to talk. Cassie knows she is there to have sex with Sid, but she also knows that Sid has a crush on Michelle. Cassie also informs Sid that Michelle is aware of the crush and she thinks Sid is the best, but ultimately she loves Tony. Cassie then tells Sid if they're going to have sex, then he needs to hurry. When Sid asks why, Cassie tells him because she just took a shitload of pills. Before Cassie can answer any more questions, she passes out. Worried she is overdosing, Sid drags Cassie back into the house for help. Sid enters the house to see his friends fighting with the other rich kids. One of the rich kids, a Polish exchange student, becomes enamored with Chris, saying, "Finally, the real men have arrived." Abigail kicks Tony and his friends out of the house. With nowhere to go and no way of getting to a hospital to help Cassie, the group doesn't know what to do. The Polish girl approaches them and says she stole the keys to Abigail's parents' station wagon, and she says in her Polish accent, "We steal car and we make She says that to Chris. Tony drives recklessly to the ER to save Cassie while Chris and the Polish girl have sex in the Wayback, which if you're in a station wagon, you know what the Wayback is. Just as they arrive, Cassie wakes up completely fine. The group drives to a park by a so I put a riverbank, a harbor, kind of like a harbor bank, and park so Anwar can go pee. While Anwar goes to the bathroom, Tony and Sid discuss what to do with all the weed. Tony reassures Sid that they'll find a way to sell it because someone is always looking. Tony then says they might as well smoke a joint since they have so much, while looking for rolling papers or skins, as Maxie says, "Do you have any skins?" In his back pocket, Tony accidentally releases the parking brake, slowly driving into the harbor. The group all escape safely, but then Sid realizes the weed is gone, so he has nothing to sell. The group goes home. Sid stays over at Tony's. While laying in bed together, Sid asks Tony what happened to Chris and the Polish girl, and if they left the car before or after they went into the harbor, which it was before they had already left the car.
Yeah.
Tony asks if Sid is still a virgin, to which she says yes. End of episode.
End of episode.
Yeah, so the bit where with Chris and the Polish girl, I think that was a continuity error that they kind of made a joke about later in the show, because it was like they had left them out of that. I guess those were filmed on 2 different days with them in the backseat and them at the harbor. And I think Joe Dempsey couldn't make it that day, so they were like, okay, well,
we'll mesh these
we'll
together.
kind of mesh these together and then kind of make a joke about it later.
Yeah.
Like, what happened to him? Because obviously they're both fine. Chris is a main character, so nothing happens to him. End of episode. 45 minutes, super easy to watch. I love this show. It's I would say it does a really good it does really well with, this was mostly comedic. This episode was mostly done in a very comedic way, as are, I would say, about 2/3 of the show in general. But then They do really well with mixing in drama, mixing in serious moments, heartfelt moments. There are scenes that have made me tear up. There are scenes that have made me hate a character. There are scenes that I've gotten really invested in. And then, but most of the time, they're just cracking me up. So it's just kind of a nice little combination of like a comedy drama.
What I liked about this was this was kind of the batshit crazy stuff that was happening.
Yeah.
I mean, I've told you about the van story where my friend Carrie and I got picked up by these guys in a van to go to a party. My friend Amy and I, where we had to bring someone back to her house because she had a curfew. And then we went back out to another party and she was racing down Carrollton Avenue to get back to the party before it ended and hit the neutral ground and popped a tire. I mean, you know, like, I think that's what I could appreciate about it. It was never, comparing it to like other shows we've watched, like, you know, losing the whole virginity, like the Brenda and Dylan, and now she was worried she was pregnant, and I'm going to go talk to my mom about it. Like, yeah, I don't know anybody that happened to, you know, I mean, yeah, it was, I really liked it for its like rawness and realness to it. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's on Hulu. So every 2 seasons, I always say don't get too attached to the characters because every 2 seasons they change it out. The second generation is Effie and her friends is when Effie starts. So you get 4 seasons of Kaya Scodelario. You get your girl from Crawl. You get 4 seasons of her. And then the third generation is kind of separate. It's not a follow-up to any of the other characters. Unpopular opinion, I love the third generation. A lot of people didn't like it. Oh, okay. I really liked it. Second generation, I might want to go and rewatch it just because of Jack O'Connell now that he's kind of blown up.
Oh yeah.
I'd be really interested to watch it now because I hated his character originally. So like, but his character is so well liked. Maybe it was just too realistic. But yeah, so it's on Hulu. Go give it a try. And I think if you like to party, you'll like this show.
Oh, I think so, for sure.
I think if you were just a teenager that had fun in high school and let loose, high school, college, whenever, I feel like you can at least relate to it on some level.
If you just had some crazy friends, even if you weren't one of them, I mean, I think we all had that diverse group of friends.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's always the crazy one, the shy one, the goody in every friend group, even if you were in the bad friend group or the good friend group.
There was some form of that type of person.
Exactly.
I feel you. All right, you think that wraps this one up?
Yeah.
All right, that wraps up this episode. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't already, go ahead and follow us on whichever platform you're listening to this podcast on. That way you'll be notified every time we publish a new episode. You can also follow us on Instagram at WeJudgePilotPod. We're also on Facebook. You can leave us a comment, suggest a show for us to watch, or leave some emojis in the comments. What you got?
All right, I have the UK flag, the cherry for popping the cherry, the school and the house, coffee to represent the cafe, the heart because they all like love each other, like everybody has all these relationships, the cigarette to represent the skins, the rolling papers.
And also they're smoking cigarettes throughout this whole episode.
Drums, the party hat, cash, pills to represent all the drugs she had taken, dancing, the passed out emoji, keys, the car, the hospital, and the water for the harbor.
Nice.
All right. Well, we are going to head out now, but we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for listening.